All right. Thank you so much to everybody who's joining us here on the Law Live Audio Wrestling. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching that. Please make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, leave us a comment, tell us how ugly we are, whatever the case may be. We don't care. We like to respond. And if you look back, we do respond to all of them. If you're listening to this on all of any your favorite podcast provider, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you just join our Podbean itself, I mean, listen, we appreciate all of you.
Alexa, play the Law Live Audio Wrestling.
And just like that, listen, Bradie, I got a question for you. We've talked about this before, and we do talk a lot of boxing, a lot of MMA, and a lot of professional wrestling here.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have in each one of these fields, you have a new young phenom of a performer. And we've seen it in the world of MMA, right? We've seen it with a lot. I mean, BJ Penn is a perfect example.
Hamzat.
Hamzat Chimaev, a perfect example.
Connor.
Guys that kind of just transcend the sport, so to speak, right?
Nick Diaz.
We've seen it in the world of professional wrestling a lot of times with a lot of young guys. You know what I mean? And even more so now, I think, because with the PC in WWE, they have the ability to not have to do anything before they're on TV. Can I be in your band now?
No.
Your boy band?
Nope.
Your boy one girl band?
Nope.
Okay, fine. Anyways, I didn't
You
want
can come to the show. I'll put you on the list.
Forget it. Anyways, now we're seeing it, and we've seen it in boxing, but we're seeing it again in boxing. We've seen it in boxing before, with a very young Floyd Mayweather. We've seen what he did with his career. We've seen it with, some very flashy boxers, but we're seeing it now and it's kind of a throwback, if you will. I'm talking about a gentleman who just fought kind of on the past card with Bivol and Beterbiev, talking about Ben Whittaker. Right. And the reason I say kind of is because the guy is an internet sensation. If you went online and saw him on TikTok, you see these crazy videos that he reminds you of some, boxer from back when.
It's my spot, and I might as well take it now so we can just avoid. I told Chris before we started, I'm like, do not mention this name. You know he's one of my favorite boxers of all time. And if we're going to talk about him on the show, we'll talk about my boy. All right. So there's a lot of rope-a-doping going on, a lot of some of this carnival stuff that you used to see in these old-timey videos. Prince Nazim, the king of the rope-a-dope.
Old-timey from 1999.
No. We're talking like it's a throwback to the rope-a-dope videos from the 30s and stuff. They were just joke videos, carnival stuff, right? Yes. There was always some fucking Three Stooges music playing in the background. Right. Well, then in the 90s, a gentleman, late 80s, and he had been practicing since he was a child. And he was almost a prodigy for the world of boxing at the time because no one knew what the fuck to do with him. He was just Prince Nazim.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, please, after we're done this and you're done that, subscribing and all that good stuff, go watch videos on Prince Nazim. One of the most amazing, people call him a flash in the pan. To me, he was around long enough and did enough to be considered one of the best of all time. He's in my top 3. He may be in the top 1. I don't know. I've got a little mixed up with boxers. And the reason why, and it's the same thing with Ben Whittaker, and I think he is a prodigy. And I don't care if he's, he goes on the Prince Nazim run or not. To me, he's entertaining as shit. And I think that's what boxing and MMA needs. I think, and we were talking about it on our last video, our last segment, which is, man, if you're going to entertain people, do it inside the ring while you're fighting. It's a perfect blend. It's charisma. It's what you want. And Ben Whittaker has it. Unfortunately, He almost fucking died on the weekend. What happened, Chris?
Well, so here's the thing, and we talk about that, and we've seen all of the videos and how flashy he is, and moves out the way, and almost gets into this rhythm where he's dancing, and throwing these shots, and it's very non-traditional boxing where you stand in a booth, you move off to the center line, you throw that return shot, or you forward attack. It's very non-traditional, his style of boxing, and sometimes can get him into a little bit of trouble. Um, and not in trouble inside of the ring. I mean trouble with the boxing purists, right? And those people. However, this past weekend, his fight, he didn't do any of that. He was in there fighting with a guy and proving that he deserves to have these bigger fights. On a fight that was very, very competitive, because the person that he was in there with as well, was not like one of these guys that he could get away with all of that flashy stuff because they were in his face. And what ends up happening, I think it was like the 6th round or something like that, both fighters end up spilling over the top rope to the outside. And when they come down, you've got like people there, stopping them from trying to fall into the crowd and right off. And the ring is kind of on a bit of a platform, right? So that everybody can see it. And when they come down, he must have smashed his leg or something.
Well, he hit his head and his leg. Well, hit his neck and his leg, apparently. Yes.
Sure. And rolled back in the ring, and the fight was called off due to an injury. They go to scorecards at that point and call this thing a technical draw. So now has a draw on his record. And I mean, I've went back and I've watched the fight. I don't know if you have watched the fight a couple of times. What's your opinion of that fight? Was he winning that fight?
Total legal suplex.
Totally legal suplex to the outside, but over the top rope, AWA rules dictate that you cannot throw somebody over the top rope.
This ain't the 60s, buddy.
Oh, okay. Well, it also is not a very good look for Ben Whittaker and for boxing at that point, because let's face facts. A lot of people had a lot of high hopes on Ben Whittaker, and now number one, you've got to run this thing back. Number two, it's the world of boxing. We just came off of, my skepticism of UFC and MMA and judging and rules and all of that stuff right now. Anyways, do you think that we could be living in a world possibly where, Bradie, Ben Whittaker maybe thought he was losing that fight? Maybe he thought he wasn't winning that fight and saw this as an opportunity, not to take the bump, but saw the bump as an opportunity to maybe end this a little bit early.
No, I don't think it's as much as I love conspiracies and I love fueling them. I think this was just a fucking fuck up. I think it just happened. Like, he didn't seem right the entire night.
Right.
Even walking in, he didn't seem like himself. It was almost like it was put on.
Okay.
There very well could have been something that leads to your conspiracy, but I don't know. Gut feeling if I can trust it. And it's been rumbling this whole segment.
This is what I'm saying to you. I don't know. I'd love to hear what everybody out there seems to think.
Yeah, I don't think
if y'all think that this was a legit injury, or if you think that he used it as a way to get out of this fight, or was he winning the fight?
As of this morning of us recording this, it has been announced that he did tweak a disc in his neck and he has a sprained ankle. So he's out for a minute.
He's going to be out for a minute. And everybody knows, injuries in sport, especially boxing, because listen, let's face facts. Let's face facts here. These guys can get punched in the head for 12 rounds, right? Got these monster melons, big shoulders, giant chests. Bro, have you ever paid attention to the legs on a boxer? Come on. I've seen ostriches with better calves.
Oh, come on, man. It's not the NBA.
No. I've seen guys in the NBA with better calves than some of these boxers. Boxers, I mean, you talk about, if you thought pro wrestling was an upper body business, oof.
Thanks for watching that video. If you like that video and you want to see some other stuff, check out our catalog here on YouTube, or you can find us on any podcast provider anywhere in the world.
Yep.